Stamkos, not allowing them to get pucks to the net. Only 3 shots on goal for Stamkos in the last 3 games. But if you go back to Game 5 against the New York Islanders, Stamkos, who had been quiet, scored 2 goals in that hockey game. And the only goal that he has in this series came in garbage time in Game 1, the late power play goal for Stamkos. So, like Enzo said, he doesn't seem like he looks comfortable. You wonder if he's 100%. Big save by Vasilevsky on the redirect in front. Right on Stahl. Malott gets the puck ahead. Matthew Joseph with it for Tampa Bay. Sent it back to the touch off the crossbar and out of play. What an opportunity for Tyler Johnson. We remain scoreless.
The leap of faith. Some hesitate, but not you. You don't ask what if. You embrace what's next with open arms. You don't question your decision. You double down. Because you know the thrill is worth it. Introducing the 2022 Telluride Nightfall Edition.
Goal! Cancel! His brother can't hold you. That's how you make Dad proud.
Mass Mutual, proud partner of the NHL. There's a 100% chance of
Celebrate this summer with an BLT Ranch hand-breaded chicken sandwich from Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. Feed your happiness.
With the Capital One Saver Card, you earn unlimited 4% cash back on dining out, 4% on entertainment, 4% on takeout and popular streaming, and now 3% at grocery stores. Earn unlimited cash back for going
Let's go Bolts.
with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Let's go Bolts. Close this bitch out tonight.
Siri, who leads the NHL playoffs in goals?
Well, Siri, as we said a little bit earlier, it's that man right there, Braden Point. He used it all right before the Tyler Johnson crossbar in front of the net. It looked like it was Eric Stahl, but it ends up going off the right skate. Now Braden Point after Shea Weber gets this puck past Andre Malott. Again, we say it. How often? You just never know when you get the puck to the net. And Vasilevsky with a terrific stop. Only the third Montreal shot. Suzuki moves the puck along. Vasilevsky swings it around.
Remember, what a mess at ESPN, huh? Ohtani hit his 32nd home run.
Similar feel to Game 4, but if you remember in Game 4, there was a shift by the stall line that seemed to spark the Canadians. There was a lot of zone time, and from there he came out with the Evans line had a good shift, and then eventually they scored. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Price had a good start in Game 4, much like he's having here in Game 5. And you know there hasn't been a lot of action down in the Tampa Bay zone. To the Canadians, you're comfortable getting out of the first. Lost at 0.
Oh my God, a spin on the ESPYs. I love it. What would you call what would you call? It's a great idea for Twitter. My top 5, I have new, like, in honor of the ESPYs. What would you call it with all the shit going on? It's got to kind of like be ESPYs.
gets going. I mean, he is like a freight train. He had one thing on his mind, and after having to move the puck, very difficult.
What the hell would you call the ESPYs? The Prick Awards. In honor of the ESPYs, we're not calling them the Prick Awards. No, it's got to be something else. Something with arrogance in it. The Softy Awards. What could you call it? What would be a good spoof off the ESPYs? The BLM Awards. No, because then would someone say that would be racist, and so I don't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? And they would. That'd be like, even though I had Doug Williams on today and we were talking all about that, doesn't matter. People are stupid in my business. How about the irrelevant awards? The besties. Spesties. The useless ESPN notification of the year. What award is useless? The ESPN notification of the year. That is class. That's a great one. Actually, my favorite ESPN notification of the year award was that Rachel Nichols and Jimmy Butler got it on at the bubble. Thank you. I think they're going to fire everybody and give Maria Taylor every job there. How about the most fired award of a host at ESPN? It would be Bomani Jones. We have a new category, the Bomani Jones category. You can be fired as many times as possible and still somehow work there. Yeah, the Bomani Jones Award. How many times can I get canned in my career? At least I got canned for people like not liking me. This guy got canned for performance. Like being horrible. And watch this. I guarantee you they come up in a year with another radio job for him. Yeah. It's the worst. They're so bad right now. That network is so fucking terrible, man. They are so terrible. And then they have, the gall to tell people, they have the gall to tell people, you're racist or you're this or you're that. Their hiring practices are brutal, man. Hey, you want to know why you're the wrong color? And I don't mean that in any other way. And get this, I was talking to Doug Williams, and female, absolutely, and female. That's right. Now you got it, Trevor. It's got nothing to do with race. They're looking for a look. They're just looking for a look. How you doing, Junior? How's your Russian coming? I don't acknowledge commies. You should. Oh. Doing good, Junior. Hey, Chris, let me ask you this. We're in the process of doing this. Those interviews like I did today with Doug Williams and other people, could we possibly do this? If we sent those to you, could you replay them at night? It's really great air quality, and the mic's one of the best mics I've ever had. Well, that would be fucking amazing. If I'd known that, we'd been doing it by now. Are you kidding me? If I sent you like the interviews. Hold on for a second. Wait a minute. Whoa, wait. No. They're not interviews. They're just snippets. Okay, it's at Jacob Media, and there's like it. Wait a minute. It's on my Twitter page right now. Today's edition of the Dan Sileo Show. You'll see it on, what's that? The full video's there, and then there's like interviews with like Doug Williams and like Tim Brando, and I believe it was also with Christine Brennan. But here's the problem, Chris. They're long. So could we stop it and then go to break and then rejoin it? Yeah, we could end it. Actually, really, you're right. Chris, that would be immensely great. I just saw 6:02 and I was so afraid. I'm like, okay, 6:05 I start. Wow. Oh, man, this would be great, Chris, if you could do this. And all I have to do is credit Jacob Media. Oh, my God, this would be... I am calm. I am relaxed. You gotta understand something, Junior. Big Sills doesn't get rattled. Unless my computer goes out or unless I've got 10 inches of you-know-what in my shower. Then I'm rattled. Yeah, hey, when I have 4 inches of you-know-what in my shower, then I'm rattled, yes. No way this would be. It says the full it says this on my, it said the full video is, yes. What's this? It says today's edition of the National Football Show, and there's 3 interviews there. Doug Williams, Tim Brando, Christine Brennan. Hey, you get this for big. I don't care what you are. Well, you don't have to do it tonight. We can start doing it. Yeah. Yeah, love him. One of my favorite wrestlers. I did. Did he die? Oh, yeah. Right. Am I ready to go here? Good evening, America. It's your boy, Dan Sileo, here on the happy hour of radio. Hope all are doing well. Summertime, sports, big sales, fun. I mean, doesn't get any better than that, right? Watching tonight, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. I tell you what, man, it's clearly one of my favorite sports, the NHL. You know why? These guys and their passion that they have. And by the way, the Montreal Canadiens are fighting their asses off right now not to let this thing end tonight in Tampa. And they want to keep the cup in the cabinet. Okay? They don't want the cup to come out of the cabinet. Keep that baby behind closed doors. I love that, man. You know, sometimes you see in sports people put their hand up and they surrender. Man, these NHL guys fight to the end. They fight so hard to get their name on that cup. I've actually had that Stanley Cup in my hand. I was honored to have the cup in my studio. I've posted a few pictures of me holding the Stanley Cup. And it is clearly the greatest trophy in North American sports. The Super Bowl trophy, the Lombardi trophy, watch this. I don't know. What do you make of it? I think it's okay. I would take the World Cup and soccer's trophy over that thing. Think of another North American trophy. The World Series trophy may be the worst. Okay, how about the Larry O'Brien trophy for the NBA? Another dorky-looking trophy. The Stanley Cup is the best, man. I'll tell you this. CFL, the Canadian Football League's got a pretty dope championship trophy, too. It does, man. It's pretty cool. Okay? That thing is awesome. Yeah, the Grey Cup is great. I love that thing, man. And it just goes back to the Stanley Cup, though. It's the best trophy. You know, it's funny. My daughter didn't realize this, and I showed her. She's like, Dad, this Stanley Cup is so big and so – I go, do you actually know the Stanley Cup is the thing that sits on top of all those circles? Okay, the names aren't really the cup. It's become part of the cup. But that chalice that's at the top is really the Stanley Cup. And so she's like, get out. And I go, no. So, I showed it to her. She touched it. She's like, wow, Dad, love that thing, man. Oh, my God, it's the best. I think it's the best trophy. I actually think it's probably the best trophy in the world. Okay, of all professional sports leagues. I do dig the World Cup. Okay, I do dig that. I had a debate earlier today with somebody, and somebody was telling me that, because we have, we were talking about awards and championship trophies and what have you. And somebody was talking to me about, the Olympics are coming up here in about, what is it now, 10 days? We're just a couple days out from the start of the Olympics. What would you rather have? A Super Bowl ring or a Olympic gold medal? What would you want? What would be something, if you had the ultimate fantasy, what would you want on your trophy case? A gold medal representing the United States of America, or having a Super Bowl championship ring? The Super Bowl ring is probably worth more. I think they're I want to say they're $70,000 to $80,000 if I'm not mistaken. Okay? An Olympic gold medal, gotta think that thing's near $90,000, $100,000, no? Plus the sentimental value, plus the historic value. Think of this for a second. When you win a gold medal, you're representing your country in front of the world. That's got to be more significant than winning a Super Bowl ring, right? Or really any team championship ring. You imagine standing there in front of the world and the national anthem's playing. Man, that's the ultimate dream, I think, for an athlete, is to have that around your neck, the anthem playing, and you getting a chance to represent your country. I'm such a honk for the Olympics. Really sad, the story that's coming out of the Olympics with Sha'Carri Richardson, that she can't participate. Now, get this. I thought maybe they would pick her for the 4x100 relay team. Remember when, and if you weren't watching the Olympic qualifiers, remember when she was talking and saying, I'm an Olympian now. Oh, my God, I'm an Olympian. Well, her drug test came back and she was smoking weed. I was talking with Christine Brennan, one of my dear friends and who I love the most for USA Today. I've known her since my time at the University of Miami when she covered my Canes football team for the Miami Herald. And she's been such a proponent for women's sports and the Olympic movement. She is a Pulitzer Prize winner. She's on ABC's, ABC News and CNN, and she does all those hits for her. And she talked with me earlier today, and we were talking about it. And I said this, I go, man, I feel for her. And she goes, I'm so glad to hear you say that. But then I added the but in. And I said this, I go, you know what's crazy? Marijuana is a non-starter for me when it comes to judging you as a human. Your decision-making process is what bugs me the most. It's not that you smoke pot. I'd rather have you smoking pot than taking Percocets and Percodans to deal with pain. Wouldn't you? Would you rather not have somebody smoking pot versus taking something that's so addictive? I tell people this story. When I played my freshman year, my rookie year in the NFL, every time I got injured or hurt or I had bumps and bruises, you know what they would give me? They would give me Percocets and Percodans right there on the airplane. And get this, when I couldn't get to sleep, they gave me Valiums and those on top of it. Think of what they were doing to me. They were turning me into a junkie. By the middle of the season, when I did hurt my knee and I needed to have it scoped, I didn't even know the pain was so severe until I came off them months later. So when someone says to me, do you think we could come up with an alternative to giving the athletes and giving the NFL players Percocets and Percodans? I say smoke pot. Yeah, man. But you see, that was something that has been in this country as a negative since the turn of the century. I don't think people understand how our anti-pot campaigns and anti-pot movement began. Okay? It was back in the day, because they decided either you're going to use marijuana as a recreational drug or you were going to do cigarettes. So cigarettes became the go-to, and they banned marijuana. They taxed the cigarettes. The San Francisco Chronicle, all of those people, all the newspapers branded marijuana as a bad drug. It's been a campaign with no proven proof that marijuana is detrimental to your health at all. Have you ever heard of anybody on a suicide rampage because they smoked too much weed? Have you ever heard of somebody dying from pot cancer, which I just made that up? I've never heard that. But I've heard people dying of cancer because they smoke tobacco. It was the tobacco industry that did that and made it anti in this country with no proof whatsoever that it was detrimental to your health. So when people were telling me about, using drugs, yeah, man, smoke weed. So my problem with Sha'Carri is not she smoked pot. It was, and like I said, talking with Christine earlier, I was doing this, watch. And I mentioned this last night. If you told me I had to stop at 200 stop signs and I couldn't roll through them, even though it's the dumbest rule ever, I'm going to do it because the rule's in place. For whatever reason, politics, I don't really care why the rule's in the rule book. I'm going to do it. I was so happy, by the way, that Christine, she understood what I was saying and she agreed with me. It's not that we're talking about whether the rule is right or wrong. That's another debate. It's about your judgment. The rule's in the book. So now she's not at all being invited to the Olympic Games. Sad. She was the next FloJo. I believe she would have broke Florence Griffin Joyner's 100 and 200 meter records at the Olympic Games. I'm not so sure she races in the 200. I'll have to check that. I know for 100, she did a 1086. She's right there on the cusp of breaking that record. I mean, it was going to happen, but now she can't because she had poor decision making. That's really uncool, man. I feel for her. I do. But there's a part of me that also does this. Come on, man. You knew it was in the book. And some are trying to do this. Well, she was dealing with, mental health here. And I agree with everyone out there. Mental health has to be taken and really dealt with a conversation that everybody has to understand. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not an issue for a person out there. The littlest thing could trigger people off. And if you don't struggle with mental health, you have no right to comment on it because you're talking from an outsider that maybe doesn't struggle with it. And God bless you for sure. But anybody that does, the littlest things could bug you. So when you say, well, she never knew her biological mother. Well, you don't know what triggers people. Sadness can trigger people into depression. You have no idea what you're talking about. And I've said this before to people. I kind of struggle with it at times and have my whole life. But you learn to cope with it and deal with it. I've told people I've got a few issues in my life. It's what it is. And so, I felt for her, man. I really did. I can't wait for the Olympics. And unfortunately, she's not going to be there. All right. Something else really cool is coming up around the corner here. God, what are we now? 20 days away to the start of training camps in the NFL. And quite frankly, next week, I think the Steelers and Cowboys show up to training camp because they got to play in the NFL's Hall of Fame game, which is going to be in Canton. They're going to do Steelers and Cowboys. Those two teams didn't get a chance to, play last year because of COVID. So they're going to play that game. And it's going to be great. I think the place is going to be packed. Everybody's going to really look forward to it. And I can't wait. I just can't wait to see people back in the stands again, especially for America's sport. And that is football. You know why football is America's sport? There's clarity. Okay. There's competition. And you know what? There's no panel. There's no politics. I do believe that's why people enjoy sports. You know what's funny? My guy Chris O sits around all day long listening to political talk. But you know what he'll do? He'll throw statistics at me on sports that he knows, and it shocks me how great he is. It does. But you know what that tells me also? That's his release too from some of the things that are going on in the world out there. I'm going to show you why a guy doesn't get playing with the New England Patriots. We'll do that next. This would be amazing. I want to hear how it sounds. I just want to hear how it would sound, and I just want to hear how it would sound on our air. Oh no, I get it. Awesome, Big Mike. I love that, man. It's cool. Parlez-vous français? That's great. Konnichiwa? Huh. Come va? That's Italian, donkey. No. The Bambino. I'm looking at a crow right now that's probably 88 pounds. It's gay. No. Oh, that's right. Place is packed and they still got the hockey going. You're not canceling anything, NHL, man. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is easy or either. Yeah, tropical. These guys would go out there in the bay and play if they had to. Bozaleski, 2 great saves. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, initially they said that he fell and not near what happened. Yep. Ugh. Funny. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Once again, we want to give you some really good news on the show growing. See, we found a home here with USA Radio Networks. We are going on the air in Orlando on 105.5 and in Fort Walton. We're really looking forward to this. We're going to be on in Orlando. I was on in Orlando, I think, for like 12 years. And we had such a great run there. It was so much fun. And believe it or not, politics took me off the air in Orlando, even though we were 5th rated in morning drive in Orlando. As a matter of fact, I was 2nd in Tampa, which is even crazier. We were 2nd in Tampa. I did 8 shares for 15 years. Shows you how crazy that is, right? I don't think there's really a place that we didn't end up in the top 5. I know in San Diego, we were 3rd in men 25-54, and we were also 5th in Miami. I was only on for like a year, something like that. Crazy. So we're looking so forward to being back, especially with football season coming up. So a little bit of news there for you. By the way, tonight, Shohei Ohtani hit his 32nd home run. Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. He's got me excited about baseball. Did I say that? Hold on. I think I just said that. Shohei Ohtani has me excited about baseball. I have never seen an athlete in that sport like this guy. And by the way, he's Asian. And I say that with all the Asian hate crimes that we're seeing in this country. What an absolutely great moment for baseball. But once again, these people are sitting on their hands. They should be promoting this guy as much as they possibly can. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man. You have something special. Promote it. Can you imagine if the NFL had an Asian American quarterback who was the best? My God, the NFL would be holding parades in every city he played in. The league is not afraid. Baseball, it's because of these old fart writers. You know here's what's wrong with baseball. Well, Barry Bonds took steroids and the integrity of the game. Screw the integrity of the game. You are there to entertain. See, the thing with baseball, pulling the All-Star game out of Atlanta and putting it in Colorado, is a prime example of what's wrong with that sport. The NFL changes rules. And you know why they change rules? Because the American public likes scoring. They like gambling, which means they like the red zone. You think they give a rat's ass about wide receiver records or records in the record book? Absolutely not. They care about money. Baseball cares about the integrity of the sport and the record book. Your record book is holding you back. The record book is stupid. Do you know how many kids 25 to 35 right now could recite anybody in that record book? Bob Nightingale from USA Today told me a story. Do you know the average age for a baseball fan is? You know what he is? He's 54. 54? 54 years old. Mike says baseball fans love stats. Really? Baseball fans want to be entertained. I want to be entertained. When people were hitting home runs, were you not entertained, as Maximus would say? Come on, man. You're an entertainment league. You're not a political party. Baseball's in their way. This guy, Shohei Ohtani, is the best thing I've ever seen in baseball in my lifetime. An all-star pitcher and hitter? That's Babe Ruth. All right. I'll get to what's wrong with this one player in New England. Shows you what's wrong with today's players. We'll do it next. Always smart to do that. Content is king. No, he did kill him. He did kill. Oh. Cobb is the quintessential racist in baseball history. So was Roger Hornsby. Hold on, I got something here for you. Who was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan that was a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer?
Here is information from Wikipedia.
Who was a member of the Ku Klux Klan that was a Baseball Hall of Famer?
According to Wikipedia,
Tris Speaker. Tris Speaker was a Grand Wizard. I see baseball stripping him of his records. You keep Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame for gambling, but you don't keep that guy out of the Hall of Fame, and he's the Grand Wizard. It's good enough. It's air quality. Yeah. That's great, Chris. Because now also what I'll do, Chris, is I'll make sure that I set up. Wow, man. Wow, you're a stud. Yeah. No, yes. Impressive. I'm very impressed. Yeah. Yeah, personally, I just want to hear how it sounds. No, okay. Yep. I just realized something. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I can easily be bought. Okay. Yes, I can easily be bought. Oh, man. There's a price tag for everything, I guess. That's what Howard Hughes says. How much do you want? I'm not for sale. How much do you want? Okay, I'll take 10,000 shares of TWA. No, that was the other guy. He owned TWA, did Howard Hughes. He bought that, and yeah, Hughes was the owner of TWA, man. And the other guy was Trippy, that's right, was the owner of Pan Am. Yeah, and Hughes is notorious for just saying, how much do you need? So, yes, I just realized that I'm easily bought here. All right, let me move on here. It's two issues I'm going to hit on here. Aaron Rodgers, I learned something about Aaron Rodgers watching the match. You know, there was this match yesterday that was played between Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, DeChambeau, and Phil Mickelson. And I learned something about Aaron. I'll hit on that here in a second, but I want to hit on N'Keal Harry from New England. And I want to hit on him for a reason here. This kid here got drafted. N'Keal Henry got drafted last year out of Arizona State. I never thought he was a first-round draft choice, and he was a first-round draft choice last year. First time that Bill Belichick drafted a wide receiver in the first round. He was notorious for finding guys like Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Amendola, and all them dudes, where nobody wanted him. Nobody saw their ability. Nobody saw what their capabilities were on helping a team win a Super Bowl. All the guys who were just starving just to want to play. And so he decided to go out on a limb and try to draft somebody. And so he goes after Henry here. I'll say this to you, okay? I look at him and I say this to you. So this time of the year, when you show up to your facility and you are starting to look at the depth chart, all 32 teams are now doing this when you show up to your facility. The depth chart for all 90 guys that are showing up to camp. Know this, 53 players are kept, 47 are active on a Sunday. Okay. When you show up to your facility and you see your third team, you know your chances of making that football team are not very good. Unless you're a first rounder, unless you're a big money free agent that they brought in, and they want you to work your way up the ladder. If you're a person that's been in that organization for any extended period of time and you see yourself on the third team, you know what that traditionally means? You're not going to be around when the Labor Day cuts come, when they get down to the final cuts. You're out. So when you see that, you know where you are in the landscape of that franchise. You know what they think of you. Not much. And the chances of you making that team are very limited, as I said. So the agent for N'Keal Harry came to the Patriots and said this, hey, we would like to see if we can possibly get a trade and see if we can, go somewhere else because he's 13. And he was a first rounder a year ago. The Patriots have demoted this guy to third team because they think he's lazy and he's lazy mentally. Let me put this to you very simply. Did you think winning championships was something that was easily done? If it was that easy, everybody would have a championship ring. When you go to New England, there is a way of doing things. And believe me, I've talked to Chad Ochocinco. I've talked to Reggie Wayne. I've talked to certain people that have gone up there and tried to compete up there in New England. And guess what? It's not cut out for everybody. How many times have you heard Gronkowski say, it's just not fun here? Look at Brady and Gronkowski now in Tampa. They're having a blast. Bill doesn't make it fun to win. But winning itself is a drug. So you can get over the fact that the journey is tedious. You see, the journey in Tampa was fun for Brady. The journeys in New England were tedious because there was so much pressure on you. And it was put on you by Belichick. Now, if you're not cut out for that and you're not used to that, then guess what? That is not going to be a place for you to excel at. And N'Keal Harry, from what I saw a year ago, he's horrible getting off the line of scrimmage. He can't get separation. And if you're going to let a coach beat you down, I don't want you on my team. End of the story of my valuation so far of him, he was overdrafted. He doesn't like to work hard. And I'm questioning whether or not he can read a playbook. Why would I want that on my team? Wouldn't you rather take a guy like Amendola or Edelman who breaks his back for you? Is he as talented? Probably not. But who would you want on any given Sunday? Somebody who's going to show up and play his ass off and put his guts on the line? Or somebody who's going to bitch about working? I don't want somebody on my team who bitches about working. Dude, hardest things I ever did was being around Jimmy Johnson. Man, oh man. I've laid out this story numerous times to you. When you work for him and you play ball for him, the hardest days of the week are in the week, not on Saturday or Sunday. You work your ass off, man, and your onions off when you work for him. Our inside drills and our 9-on-7s were legendary. I'll tell you this. I'm not sure I've ever told this story. One time we were in the spring and we were going inside drill. And inside drill is linebackers and D-line versus the O-line and running backs for our 1s and 2s. And by the way, do you know how many first-round draft choices were on the offense when I was playing? And do you know how many first-round draft choices were on the defense when I was playing at Miami? 10. These are all NFL guys I was playing against. In high picks, Irvins, Highsmiths, all these guys. And man, oh man, I look up, there's Barry Switzer. There's Joe Paterno. There's Terry Donahue. There's Johnny Majors. There's Coach Bryant. I'm sitting there going like this to all these legendary coaches. And we go to our team meeting and Jimmy walks in. He goes, yeah, I got to give you guys a lot of credit. He goes, you know, the number one comment made by all these coaches that come and watch you play. We did this for 3 years. Jimmy was there 5 years, and we just played our onions off like that during the week. Saturdays came, those games were easy. And you know what the comment was? Man, I can't get our guys to play this hard all the time. They just won't practice this hard. I don't know how you guys do it. It's the kind of kids we had on the team. These were guys that were either going to be in prison, dead, or in the NFL. There were no other back doors. Maybe the Army. So Army, prison, dead, or the NFL. Do you know how many people were afraid to come off the field because they were afraid to lose their jobs to the guy behind them? We worked our ass off. I learned that from that coach. You know what's funny? When I went to the NFL and I went to the Buccaneers, we didn't work that hard. You know, in every practice that I go to, even when I go around my daughter's practices or I watch another NFL practice and I watch some of the practices today, I say this: These guys don't practice hard, man. There's just no game tempo. I mean, we did everything game tempo. Ran the water, ran off the field, drills. Everything we did was game tempo. So when you got into the game, it was normal to see that speed of the game. How many times do you see teams start out slow? You know why? Because teams lollygag in practice. If you practice game tempo, you're ready for the speed of the game. If you don't practice that, then guess what? You won't be ready for the game, and you'll be down 14-0. We worked our ass off. So when I hear a kid bitching about working, you don't want to play in New England. Is that right? And the reason he thinks and the reason that he can throw shade on New England is because Brady's not there. Just so happens that guy's the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League. And you don't want to play for the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League? What else does that tell you? That's like saying you don't want to work for Steve Jobs. You think working at Apple was easy back in the day with Jobs? Or do you think it was easy working around Bill Gates and them guys? Those guys' phones were never off. I don't want to work here. I don't want to be here. You know what I would do? I'd keep that kid's ass on my team just to spite his ass. That's not how he'll do it. Believe me, if they could send him to the CFL, they would send him there. What an absolute crybaby. I don't want to play. I don't want to work here. You know, it's really hard. You think they won those 6 championships in New England because they took easy time off? How absolutely embarrassing can you possibly be when you sit around and you talk like that? I can't tell you how obnoxious that is on how you fundamentally aren't prepared to play and aren't prepared to be in a position to win. It's such an absolute disgrace to hear a guy crying like that. I want to be traded because he saw his name 3rd on the depth chart. I heard that and I was like, that is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Crying about your being 3rd. Because you know why? You don't work hard enough. You're not putting the effort in. You want to win a championship. You think sitting on your fat ass all day long is going to get it done? Or do you think going out and working your backside off to get it done is how you win championships? Tell you something. What's crazy about that kid versus my daughter. My daughter, the entire summertime, harasses my wife to go and work out every single day. And I admire that. That's how you win. When no one's watching you and you don't have the spotlight on you and you're not getting kudos and people patting you on the back, when no one's watching you, that's when champions are made. Not when the lights are on and kissing cheerleaders and cashing paychecks. That guy is more concerned about being an NFL star than he is about winning. You see, in New England, too, what also is something that he never got is that they believe in group settings. You know what that is? Hey, 1 week, you may get 14 targets, which means throwing the ball to that kid. Another week, we may only throw it to you 2 times. Another week, we may not throw it to you. So if you're looking for big numbers in New England, know this. This is about winning ball games. This is not about filling your ego up and your stat line up. If you want to be a fantasy football freak, you don't go to New England. Not as long as that guy's in New England. So when and take it from me, a guy that failed in the NFL. Failed. Whatever you call failing. I know people will go, Sills, you were a high draft. I get it. I'm not debating now. You know what I'm talking. I'm talking 10 years with a shot at the Hall of Fame. That to me is making it. Saw that, and I was like, he wants out of New England. Man, what a quitter. Guy's a loser. Hey, do me a favor. Check out my great friends at podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones, earbuds, everything that you need. They've got it for you. One-stop place, right? Gamers love the place, too. Use the promo code Sileo, S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. That's S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. 25% off everything you see on the website. Shipping is free. You can spend as much as $5 to $5,000. Podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. You know that little golf outing that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady did yesterday? I learned a little bit more about Aaron Rodgers. I'll tell you what that is. We'll do it next. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Yeah. Fantastic. Let me hear her. Excellent. Excellent. That's all I need. Chris, let me ask you something now. Okay, so if I sent you the link of the show tomorrow, could you take the one designated interview off that for me and put it on and say that it's like a two-sided record? How would we because I'll make sure that sometime inside the interview, even though it's a video, I'll bring up the fact that just for the radio audience, I've got Kim Bocamper here from the Miami Dolphins broadcast team. Kim does a great job each and every single time. So, then I'll go into a question there so that we know for the radio audience, but say it goes past 12 minutes. Okay. Or how about this, Chris? How about this one? Because I'm not trying to fool the audience here. Would I say this at the beginning? Hey, listen, earlier today I had a chance because everybody's going to know it's nighttime. You're not going to get everybody live on your radio show at night, especially somebody. Could I just do this? Hey, listen, I caught up with Christine Brennan earlier today. Here she is. I'll get those right away. All right. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Hope all are having a great night. Learned a little bit about Aaron Rodgers yesterday. They have this new celebrity golf outing that we saw a year ago. Tiger was involved in it, obviously, with Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson and Peyton Manning. That was last year's group. This year's group was Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, DeChambeau, and Phil. And it was very entertaining. And by the way, you know what's crazy? you would think that Charles Barkley wouldn't be involved in any kind of broadcast that was going head-to-head against the NBA Finals Game 1, but he was. They put that thing up against the NBA Finals Game 1. That's what that network thought of the NBA Finals between the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. And personally, I think they're right. I don't think there's going to be a lot of viewers watching that thing. By the way, Trevor just gave me an update. 1-0 Bolts as the first period ended. I would say this to you. I kind of agree. I think that thing's going to probably do a really great number. I'm talking the golf outing, not NBA Finals Game 1. I just don't know what the draw is there. Chris Paul winning a championship, sure. Giannis played. I thought he was okay. But then again, you think that resonates with the casual listener or the casual viewer in sports? Absolutely not. They don't even know who those guys are. If I asked you, to find 10 casual sports viewers, you know who Chris Paul is? You know what they would say? No. I'll tell you this. On our network, which is a progressive news talk network, and it's a liberal network, I guarantee you if I asked 100 people who Chris Paul was, 20% could probably name him. You need that number to be higher. That's why this network is great for me, because you know why? I need to have all of you. If I'm listening and I'm attracting you, that means I'm building my audience. Hey, I love the P1s that follow me and listen to me. Love you guys. End of the day, though, that doesn't grow my brand. It doesn't grow my radio show. So I'm watching Aaron Rodgers, and you know what I realized about Rodgers? Because they started pressing him about whether or not he was going to play in Green Bay this coming 2021 season. And you know what ended up happening? Yeah, we'll see, and this and that. Here's what ended up happening in the day. Aaron Rodgers did not want to be a tool to the Green Bay Packers, which means this. He didn't want to make it ugly. So he's actually taking a knee. And the Packers didn't bend. The Packers are the Packers. They're just going to be that way. That's how they operate. They are an old school park bench, picnic bench kind of organization. They're not going on yachts. They're not, doing fancy. They're old school picnic bench people. This is where we're eating. This is what we're doing. And we've done it every year this way. That's who they are, man. And they're not bending. They didn't bend for Favre. Why would they bend for Rodgers? Why? Because he's Rodgers? They didn't bend for him. Aaron Rodgers did not want to be a bad guy in this entire process. The guy, James Harden, was a complete tool with the Rockets. Showed up fat, showed up out of shape, went to strip clubs, did everything possible to get out of Houston. Did he not? They sent him to his dream job. It still failed in Brooklyn. But at the end of the day, guess what? He didn't want to make it into an ugly scene. And when you don't make it into an ugly scene, what happens? Well, you're going to lose that argument. He needed to be the bad guy, and he was afraid to be the bad guy. Okay? Hey, listen, making $35 million a year, being the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, 2 plays away from going to the Super Bowl, I don't know. You're right there, dude. You're right there. So, he didn't have the onions to be the bad dude. What's Tony Montana say? Hey, I'm going to show you a bad guy. Like you never seen before. That's horrible, I know. But he's right. He's no Tony Montana. Yeah, we see a bad guy like me again. Hey. Hey, don't worry, though. Pacino is also a horrible Cuban imitation, too, because that whole thing, I love the movie. Hey, I love the movie, man, but I don't know. I don't know if he pulled it off. All right. I got to hit on this tool next, and this guy is Odell Beckham Jr. We'll reset to keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. Thank you, man. I'll be right back. Be right back. Dude, I think this guy Shohei Ohtani is on pace for 70 homers. Man, he's some ball player, man. Dude, this dude is. That's great. Chris, that's really, and I appreciate the effort. Thank you. Stats. You do? Well, Shohei Ohtani is on pace for how many home runs in 2021? He's on pace for 60. Hey, man, you ain't seen a bad guy like me before. One of my favorite movie, Brian De Palma, Scarface, set in the hills of Miami. There's no hills in Miami. Oh, man. You know that house in that movie is actually in Hollywood, California. It's not in South Florida. The house that Tony Montana lived in. I think they did very few shots in South Florida, except for down in South Beach. And if I give you anything, do you know there's a comparison between Star Wars and Scarface? You want to know what it is? Okay. So when Lucas and everyone were putting Star Wars together, they couldn't figure out how they could set the scene for Star Wars. And they didn't have any idea. Now, there was this little mafia of directors, Scorsese, De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, all these guys, Lucas, these guys were like in San Francisco. Oh, yes, excuse me. That's right. Who's the guy you just said? Spielberg. That's right. Steven Spielberg was in this too. And, of course, my guy Chris O probably knows the story. They couldn't figure out how they could get you into the scene of Star Wars. So De Palma is he's watching the movie. He goes, why don't you just have a rollout? You know how they tell you and they give you the history of what the starfighters and, everything was going on, and they tell you how the setting, and they set the scene on that rollout. They did the same thing in Scarface with the Mario boat lift and Fidel Castro releasing all the criminals from the prisons in Cuba. He did the same thing there. So these guys were all working together on doing these movies together. And that's how he rolled out Scarface too. When the Mario boat lift people came over, Jimmy Carter had promised that you would have asylum if you came over. So Castro just said, hey, I'll just give you all my criminals. And he emptied up all of his prisons. And that's how that whole thing happened in South Florida. By the way, when I was going to school down there, what was really crazy, We were kind of talking about this in the last timeout. That's why we're here. You go there and you can see under I-95 where they had these camps for the Cubans that came over on the Mariel boat lift. And they were still there when I think it was only just a few years after all that happened. I got down there in 85, and I think all that was going on between 80 and 83, like in there. So it had just ended. And so that movie was enormous down in South Beach. South Beach is nothing like it was then as it is today. It is nothing. It's not the same. It's pretty crazy. I mean, when you're talking about it. So anyway, let's move on here. Appreciate everybody coming aboard with us here. I really love the fact that, we're in this time of the year now where we have so many great sports going on. Let me say this to you. I was telling you in the first hour about Shohei Ohtani. So he breaks Hideki Matsui's record for the most home runs hit by a Japanese-born player. And he's going to the All-Star game as a pitcher and a hitter. And he is amazing. I can tell you this. There are a few things that get me to sit and lean forward. He's one of them. Shohei Ohtani, you know what? He gives me goosebumps in this aspect. You could be front and center with this politically, spiritually, athletically. You could be ahead of everything. Think about this for a minute. He's an American hero now to all the Asian kids in South Los Angeles. Do you know how many of the Asian community folks live in that region of the country? It is enormous. I bring this up for you because baseball does a piss-ass job at promoting their athletes and their sport. Let me tell you what the Dodgers had. Everyone always looks at the Dodgers as being this high and mighty franchise because they broke the color line with Jackie Robinson. Do you know over the last probably 50 years, they've had less blacks on that organization and on that roster than any team in the sport? It wasn't Walter O'Malley and any of those guys that were doing that. It was Branch Rickey who did that. Branch Rickey was the guy who had the insight to believe that African Americans belonged in the game of baseball. You think Walter O'Malley had the insight to go, yeah, let's start bringing black players up against his other partners in the sport of baseball? It was Rickey. You know how you can even slam dunk that conversation? It wasn't O'Malley, and it was Rickey. After Walter O'Malley fired Branch Rickey, where did he go? He went to the Pittsburgh Pirates. He brought Manny Sanguillen in. He brought in guys like Roberto Clemente. He started going into the Dominican Republic. And not only did he start having more African Americans like Willie Stargell and all those great players that played on that franchise, but he was doing the Dominicans. Rickey brought African Americans and Dominicans into the sport of baseball. Was it the O'Malley family? What Walter O'Malley saw back in the day was, you know what was happening at Ebbets Field? The Negro Leagues were outdrawing the Dodgers. And that's how Branch Rickey convinced Walter O'Malley to start bringing more African Americans onto the Dodgers. It wasn't because he was some sort of civil rights fighter, Walter O'Malley. It was Rickey that went, hey, not only is this the right thing to do, but you're going to make money. And that's what sold it for O'Malley. O'Malley moved the team out of Brooklyn because you know why? They gave him Chavez Ravine. And do you know what Chavez Ravine was? It was an area that Spanish Americans lived in, Mexican Americans, and people in that region there that were in low housing. Do you know what the city of Los Angeles did? They gave the O'Malley family that land without any money, any taxes, or anything. And you know what they did? They kicked all the Mexican Americans and all the people that came up from Mexico out of Chavez Ravine to give the Dodgers that spot for Dodger Stadium. You think Mexican Americans and the Spanish folks that lived in Southern California were fans of the Dodgers, they hated that franchise. Do you know who saved the Dodgers in Southern California? Fernando Valenzuela, a Mexican-born player, came into the Dodgers. I say that he did more for the Dodgers, or as much for the Dodgers as Robinson did for the Dodgers in Brooklyn. Can you imagine you and your family who could barely make ends meet were kicked out of their home so that you could build a ballpark? Mexican Americans hated the Dodgers. All of a sudden, this bright, shining star, this hero came into Southern California in Fernando Valenzuela, who couldn't speak English. And when Fernando pitched, everybody came and watched him. Every Mexican American on the planet came and watched Fernando. He was amazing. And for those years that he was there, that's what brought back the Mexican fans to the Dodgers. Wasn't that they were some sort of trendsetters. It was one man, Fernando Valenzuela. The Angels now, on the other hand, they're in Anaheim. Not quite LA. Still Southern California. You have an Asian-born player. And in this country, where you have hate crimes that are escalating against Asian Americans and people of Asian descent, and now you have Shohei Ohtani. Tonight he breaks Hideki Matsui's record for the most home runs hit by a Japanese-born player. He's also going to the All-Star game as a pitcher. I don't know about you, but instead of moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta, you now have a kid here who could be the Pied Piper for race relations in this country, and he's a star. He is a star. Shohei Ohtani is somebody that baseball should be pushing out. Look at what they haven't done with Mike Trout. Mike Trout's supposed to be the next coming of Ken Griffey Jr. and Mickey Mantle. Did you know that? What will baseball do with Shohei Ohtani? Will they promote him? Will they be afraid? Well, God, if we start pushing an Asian-born player, what is that? Who cares what it means? Don't be afraid. The NFL's not afraid of anything. If they see a new widget, they're going to promote it. If they think they can make money off it, they're going to make money off it. Hey, and let the collateral damage fall where it may, or let the riches fall where it may. That's what the NFL, their onions are 10 times bigger than baseball's. Baseball is stuck in a time warp. This guy breaks the record tonight. You know what's funny? Chris O just said this. Hey, I've heard the kid, but I just haven't had a chance to watch him. Really? I'll tell you this. He's not wrong, because I haven't seen any nationally televised Angel games. Have you? I haven't seen them on the weekends or anything like, hey, you got to check out Shohei Ohtani. You got to Shohei. I would be sitting there and going just like this. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani. Trevor just said, no. Right. You have a guy who's the last guy we had in this game who could do both was Babe Ruth. I don't know about you, but anytime you're in a comparison conversation with Babe Ruth, I'm thinking that's good. I'm thinking that's pretty good. Do you know how many people? You don't compare anybody to Babe Ruth. He's like comparing him to Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt averages 50 points and 25 rebounds in a season. You think anybody will ever come close to that? Both those stats in the same year? Wilt averaged 50 points and 25 boards. And so when you're talking about the greatest scorers in the history of the NBA, I don't know why people don't bring up Wilt. Jordan, are you nuts? The greatest offensive weapon in the history of the NBA is Wilt Chamberlain. It's like saying, well, Wayne Gretzky, those are his stats. But, Mario Lemieux was really good too. And so is Alexander Ovechkin. You're like, wait a minute. It's Gretzky and no one else. Same thing here when it comes to Will Chamberlain. 50 and 25. Do you ever think you'll see anybody score 100 points in a basketball game ever again? I'll use a Trevor line. Nope. So when you got something special like this, here's baseball. Well, you know, we're going to move the all. Here was what do you think the number one story was for baseball as we, you know, come out of the first half of the season? They moved the All-Star game to Colorado. Congratulations to you. Congratulations. You did nothing to promote your sport. Zero. All right. I want to hit on this great topic here. XFL, CFL. We'll do it next. I'll explain. Lightning are 16 minutes away from Cup 3, 2 in a row. Ohtani's on pace for 60 homers. And 10 wins. Fox. Oh, on NHL? NBC Sports Now. Oh, no, NBC. Yeah, it's on NBC Main. Yeah, they would have. That's probably true. They played so hard throughout the playoffs. They probably just ran out, man. And one of that. Yep. Easy ding dong. Gotcha. Like it. Oh, no, I don't like it. I am disgusted now. I did. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I just got asked a question by my guy Trevor on my Twitch channel. We appreciate everybody coming aboard here. I'll hit on XFL, CFL. Also, Odell Beckham Jr. I'll hit on that here in a second. He just asked me, he goes, what grade if you were to give Derek Jeter for running the Marlins, what would it be? I think an A. An A. Did they make the playoffs last year? Yes. Are they 10 games under 500 right now? Yes. Were you expecting the Marlins to be some sort of massive contender in a couple of years since Jeter took over the team and got rid of everybody? I don't know what you were expecting them to do. Were you expecting them to win the National League East? I wasn't. Do you know what I'm expecting them to be? I'm expecting them to eventually be one day the Tampa Bay Rays. You go over and you take a look at what the Rays do and how the Rays do business. Personally, I think that's exactly the model that the Marlins are trying to do. Take a look at the Rays right now. The Rays are 51-36 as they're heading into the All-Star break. They're 2.5 games behind Boston. And get this, the Yankees are out 9 games to Boston. I want you to understand something here. The Red Sox have a $185 million payroll. The Yankees have a $200 million payroll. The Toronto Blue Jays, who are in front of the Yankees, have a $168 million payroll. Do you know what the Rays' payroll is? $68 million. Do you know what the Marlins' payroll is? $62 million. You talk about economic return. Nobody goes to the games because you know why? Everybody in South Florida hates that franchise. They hate baseball in South Florida. Why? I don't know. I have my suspicions. And the reason that I think they hate baseball is because the previous owner, he traded Babe Ruth twice. Think about that for a second. You got a guy in Miguel Cabrera. Okay? You got a guy in Miguel Cabrera who's going to go down as one of the greatest right-hand hitters in the history of Major League Baseball. Then you turn around and you trade away an MVP in Stanton. Okay? You trade both those guys away. And you're like, how are you going to build a fan base? Okay? How are you going to do that? Yeah, Giancarlo was going to be dealt anyway under Larry Beinfest, Trevor. They had already laid the blueprint to move him before Jeter even took over. That was not going to happen. After Hernandez died, everyone was going to be expendable. Even when they got rid of Christian Yelich, they were all going to be moved out because they were going to start over again. That's why when Loria had the team, they were going to move everybody to gut the team for it to be as cheap as possible for Jeter to buy. I know the storyline there. That was written in cement. He was going to be dealt anyway. And Jeter just followed through and pulled the lever. So you're right. It was with Jeter, but Jeter had that passed off to him by Larry Beinfest. What do you think one of the reasons why Dave Dombrowski was jettisoned off that? Because he kept saying, why are we trading away all these stars? Dave Dombrowski is one of the greatest minds in baseball, and he couldn't take it anymore. I knew a lot of people down in that organization. And the minor league system that they have is spectacular. Larry Beinfest was one of the great talent evaluators, man. Didn't matter. Every time their contracts came up, they dumped them. They dumped them. So I don't know. I think they're performing as good as expected. Do I think that they're going to eventually be better than the Mets? I do. Because they've got 2 World Series titles. All right, I'll hit on XFL. CFL, looks like that relationship is going away. I'll explain next. Yeah. Might be the best for the CFL too. Why would you give up your history for something that might not work? And why would I have to placate to you? I mean, the XFL, in my opinion, okay, I'm not sure that's going to make it. The CFL has been around over 100 years. Why would I put my league's legacy on the line for something that has stopped once, started again, stopped once, started again? You know what I'm saying? And why would I do that? You know what? They were supposed to start in 2021. Then they were supposed to start in 2022. Now it's 2023. Okay. I bet you the USFL gets off the ground before that. It's funny. Guess what? After I had that guy on that football show that I do, Fox stopped promoting it. Yeah. Trevor, have you seen any promotions or anything for USFL from Fox? I haven't seen one thing from it. Huh. Is there something that we can tape? Okay. What's 10 minutes right now? Yes. I was reading. Yes, I did. Yeah. Yes, Chris. Yes, honey, I do. Bank. That's so good of you, man. You're so smart. You're so fantastic. If I did that to any other executive, right? Somebody call my boss. You're so good. You are the best. No, I do not. Hey, hey, you'd be shocked. I'd have him arrested for decent exposure. Yeah, yeah, that would be great. I'd love to have that. Hey, I got something out back I want to show you. What's that? It's a grave site. Guy. I'd be like this. Excuse me, your name was. I think we've trashed those files. What's your name again? I forgot. Right. Perfect. Perfect. See you later, guy. That's what I would do. Guy, you're bugging me. Yeah, right. Hey, I'm gonna get these Hooter cards so soon. And I know there's one in Dallas. Brother, go have it on me. I cannot wait. Oh no, I'm gonna send you over the email. It's already been mailed. I think without a doubt that you're going to have an opportunity once again to make some money when it comes to spring football. So I don't know. I wasn't shocked that relationship ended up going south. So let me give you an update here of what's going on in Tampa right now. There's 1:40 left, and it's in the third. Tampa Bay has got a 1-0 lead. By the way, they dominated game 3, 30 shots to 19 shots. And Vasilevsky has been spectacular in this series. And he's probably going to be your Conn Smythe winner. The last goaltender that they had in Tampa that was spectacular was Nikolai Javibolin. And it looks like another goaltender is leading the way here. They are definitely now, I think there's an empty net. Yep, the Canadians have emptied the net now, and there's an icing now. So we'll keep you updated on what's going on. Hey, don't forget, folks, podcasterwarehouse.com. Do me a favor. Please get over to our friends at podcasterwarehouse.com. Use the promo code Sileo, S as in Sam, ILEO, 25% off of everything that is in the building. Free shipping, $5 to $5,000. It's there for you. Podcasterwarehouse.com. Minute 24 left in Tampa. Will they win back-to-back Stanley Cups? Canadians are on the prowl. We'll give you an update. Keep it here on the Sileo Show. I think Bill Radford was in goal. Yeah. Mike Smith, too. It wasn't at the Trop. It was somewhere else. It was at the fair. Oh, wow. Here we go. Save. You see him sacrifice himself? Hit him. Oh, that's boarding. Lightning win. Lightning win the cup. Lightning win the cup. Why can't I say that? Oh. Okay. No, I got it. Tampa Bay Lightning have just won the Stanley Cup. Dan Sileo USA Radio Network. And instead of it being in an empty arena, am I right, Chris? It was in Toronto last year. No, it's one of the greatest parts of the NHL is that these warriors come together and they respect one another, and they know that the battle to win that Stanley Cup is done with heart, desire. You put everything on the line here. Your passion for your sport is on display at 24/7 when you're talking NHL Stanley Cup Finals. And I love the fact that these men do this. And you know what else I'm watching here? I'm watching the Canadiens still on the ice, watching the Lightning celebrate. And get this. And for me, what it comes down to is they want to never forget this moment because they want that moment. And so when you see those guys celebrating like that, it sends this to you. It makes you want that thing 50 times more next year when you are in this position again. Corey Price had to win the Conn Smythe Award for them to have any chance, and the Tampa goaltender completely outplayed him. But Tampa Bay, their first three lines, I'm surprised that the Canadiens actually won a game. And the Montreal Canadiens played their asses off and they played their asses off when it came to the playoffs, especially going through the Western Conference the way they did. And the opponents that they beat was just, and I believe Chris and I were talking about this, they just ran out of gas. So the Tampa Bay Lightnings win Game 5, 1-0 here. How about this, Chris? Okay, so the Rays went to the World Series a year ago. The Bolts now have won 2 cups in a row, and the Bucks are defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, this is, and you know what? Some would say the lucky charm is Brady. Because Brady, when he was in Boston, Celtics won the NBA championship. The Bruins won the cup. The Patriots were a perennial dominant team. The Red Sox won a few World Series while he was up there too. I'm watching this handshake stuff here, man. I would say this to people too. Stanley's got a tan and continues to get tanned. Okay, Stanley's got a tan again. Okay, they need it. How can't you promote this thing? I mean, if you can't promote what you're watching now, then you have a problem, and it's a youth thing. Okay, it's really a you thing here. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning on winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. Really, man. There's Peter Savard. I look at all these guys, man. This is such great. Oh my God, I'm going to get me one of those hats. By the way, I posted it. I have that jersey and I'm wearing it and I put it on. We'll reset. We'll talk more about this. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Here. Hey, man, I love you, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, brother. Yep, absolutely. Man, that would be great, Chris. Thank you so much. Yeah, no. Dude, no, when I heard you were able to do that, man, I'm telling you, Chris, I mean, instead of having, and like, these are big time guests that I'm getting on. So to me, hey, man, this is just absolutely huge. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Chris. You bet, brother. But love you too, man. Thank you. Bye.